grind, to the hustle, the pursuit of wealth. Every story, every journey, every climb from the shelf. Here's to the drive, to the fight, to pursuit of wealth.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Pursuit of Wealth podcast with the co-host, Mr. Jace Wright, doing a little BYU. Is that the BYU symbol there?
Shouldn't be doing that after yesterday, but...
Uh-oh, what happened?
Oh, they got their butt kicked.
By?
UCF.
That's unfortunate.
UCF's not bad, but yeah, it was not good.
That's not, no bueno. Well, we won't get into that.
Didn't mean to do that. It's more like, we're chilling.
Yeah, I didn't want to get you in a bad, hopefully that didn't put you in a bad mood.
I'm already in a bad mood, but we're chilling.
Okay.
We'll be all right.
All right, let's fire this up. All right, guys, so today we're going to talk a little bit about, we're going to kind of have an open discussion. There's one quote that I saw that I want to, a few different stats and stuff that I want to get your opinion on, and then talk about just like consumerism and finances as a whole. Doing this podcast, how we're structuring it now where it's more finance based, has really opened my eyes to the struggles that most people go through. Mm-hmm. And I keep asking myself, like, how can we really help people? I think the first thing is we can tell you exactly what to do. And yet 90% of people still aren't going to do it. And why is that? It's because of the narrative or the psychology that they have right now, that the story that they're telling themselves about their finances and their money. And so I feel like we have to break those beliefs, break those barriers. And then as we lay out steps, people will maybe start making changes. And I really want to lay out like little simple steps. When you look at somebody that, psychologists, when they talk to somebody they're so depressed, they just can't get out of their room, or it's like a hoarder house, or then you start decluttering. Well, at some point it feels like it's such a big mess that it's overwhelming for you to do it because you think you have to do it all in a day. And the way psychologists help these individuals is, hey, you don't need to do anything. How day one, you just bring the trash bin into the room. That's all you do. Day two, you grab one or two things, you put them in there. Day three, maybe, you clear a little space, you bring the vacuum in. You don't even plug the vacuum in, you just have it in the room. It's like doing these little things that just move the needle, but you don't have to do everything in a single day. And I think that's where the overwhelm and the stress and the anxiety comes from people when they're like, they know they need to look at their finances. And when they do, they feel like they're so far behind or there's so much that needs done that they just don't do it. Like, I'm just going to avoid that. Right. And from personal, like I dealt with that personally when I first started. It was like when I first started making good money and I didn't really know where any of my money was going, it was just an avoidance. Because like, oh man, this is a lot. I got to go back. I haven't tracked my expenses for 6 to 12 months. Well, I need to go back and look at all my expenses. Honestly, it would hit me like being self-employed in tax season. Mm-hmm. And the first few years of being self-employed and getting ready for taxes, it was like, dude, I was going through all my credit card statements, 12 months of them. I hadn't categorized anything. Is that business or not business? Then I'm looking at all the expenses. I'm like, dude, look how much money I spent. And yeah, some are business expenses. Some are lifestyle expenses. And I'm like, that really put things into perspective for me. But it is overwhelming when you feel like you've got to do it all. Mm-hmm. And I think if you can just make little steps of progress and know that it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen this first month. This first month, all we wanted you to do the first step is you don't even have to look at your finances. Just give a guesstimate of what your burn rate is. All we needed you to do is set up a separate checking account, or maybe you have a checking and savings. So just have your paychecks go into your savings account and only transfer over to your checking account what you think your burn rate is, and let it go. That's all you have to do for 30 days. And then just see if that burn rate estimate was true or not. And of course you could start doing other steps, but if that's all you do for this first month, awesome. That's a win. Cause like you're going to get there, mm-hmm. But it might take you 12 months to finally roll out all of these steps to start making progress. And that's fine because you're not on some clock. All we want you to do is eventually get this stuff set up so that next year you're not in the same position. The problem is if you never start, it's going to take you so much longer because then when you finally decide to start, it's still going to take you that full 12 months maybe to get started, like to fully have it all built out. Mm-hmm. And then that next year, you're going to start actually saving money.
And it's a goal thing too. Like if you don't set goals, you're going to just play the Where Did It Go game?
Yeah, every year. I saw I can't say literally. I don't know. Did I say it wrong the first time?
Oh, it sounded fine the first time. Then now you're making me think about it, and I'm gonna smile every time you say literally now.
Sometimes I did a YouTube video with Chandler this last week, and when I talk fast, sometimes I just shorten words or say them weird, and I would catch myself and I said something on the YouTube video and they didn't edit it out and it just bugged me. So now I'm like really self-conscious of, did I say that right? Anyway, on that YouTube video I was actually watching some of Chandler's YouTube videos because Chandler's a local guy in our area. He's a good buddy of mine. He owns a ton of rental properties. If you want like that guy's financial freedom goals, eventually we'd love to get there. But looking at his channel, one of the videos I saw, one of the top comments was, and I think it was a real estate agent or a sales guy. He's like, I've been making $300,000 a year for like the last 5 years, and I've been paying taxes and have nothing left over. He's like, I'm going to figure out this year is the year, like 2026 is the year where like I make sure I keep some money. And I'm like, dude, this affects so many people.
And
like,
to put that into perspective, let's play hypothetical because I've not seen this comment. I don't know where that person lives, but let's say they live in California. I say that's pretty comparable to someone who makes 200,000, maybe 150 here.
Yeah. But even let's say he lives in Idaho Falls.
Yeah.
Or a reasonable town where it sounded like 300,000 was a lot of money for wherever he's from.
Right.
Yet he still spent all that money because he didn't have a place or a system he wasn't telling his money where to go. And at the end of every year, he was like, you see your W-2 income or your 1099 income that you're going to have to pay taxes on. And then you're like, well, I don't even have 20% to pay my taxes, let alone where did any of the other money go? And that is like a lot of salespeople run into that every single year. The only way to break out of that is to change your habits. It's to change your money system. Obviously, the system that you're running with right now does not work if that's you at the end of the year. But how do you get people to actually make some changes and start moving towards progress?
Such a good question, because as I've self-analyzed, my journey, I look back at like when I had the job and I was miserable. We were living paycheck to paycheck. The habits that I had, just normal living, not even just spending habits, living. Yeah. Like I played an ungodly amount of video games in that time frame because I wanted to escape the life I was in. I wanted to win at something so bad subconsciously that getting a victory in a video game is what got my adrenaline going. Waking up and going to work was miserable. Coming home, seeing the bank account, like I wanted nothing to do with it. I just wanted to dull those senses entirely. And yeah, I'd play video games till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning a lot. And I recognized in that time frame, it was so I could escape. So I'd say that's number one is you're not looking at the challenge in front of you head on, and you're doing what you can to just escape it or ignore it or just pretend it's not there. And that's not going to get you anywhere. You have to look in the mirror first.
Thank you for sharing that and being honest about that.
Yeah.
Because I think there's so many people that are going to relate to that piece. And whether it's video games or something, there is a vice that when people are overwhelmed, a lot of people, it's going to be the phone. They might decide, okay, we've listened to this podcast. I'm going to go look at my credit card statements from last month and start looking at expenses. As soon as they pull it up and it's like loading and they start looking at it and that overwhelm comes, they're going to instantly just grab their phone and go on Facebook or Instagram and start scrolling because it fills that, it makes that anxiety kind of disappear. You just forget it. It numbs it. It numbs that response to that pain. And that is a great observation for you to realize like I was just trying to escape by playing those games.
And that's in a ton of different forms, like you mentioned, because when we were doing that MLM, right? That's one of the things that they taught was to just try to eliminate all of these distractions so that you could be single focused on the task at hand. Go just grind and go build this business, right? And they had a lot of good points. Like, and I fall victim to this even now. my second religion is watching BYU sports.
Yeah.
Right.
And he means that by heart.
Yeah. By heart. Like it's a problem.
Yeah.
But like you live vicariously through even sporting events, watching teams win.
Yep.
And that's your dopamine of winning.
Yes.
And that's why you have so many people that are just glued to every sport imaginable. You're watching it and it distracts you, and you spend hours a day doing that. And again, hands up, I still fall victim to that. Like I watch a ton of sports. March Madness, shot. Like I'm watching every game possible, and it's enjoyable.
His production in March is the lowest. Just garbage.
But like that's one example that they use. For me, obviously sports is fun. And I'm not saying don't watch sports. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm saying that there are aspects, whether it's your phone, whether it's sports, whether it's video games, whether it's gambling, there are so many things that substitute that feeling of winning the game.
Yep.
That dull your sense to what reality is actually in front of you. And that's the danger. That's why I say, like, look in the mirror, look at what you're doing on a day-to-day basis that is keeping you from just being able to recognize this is where I'm at and this isn't okay and we need to change some things.
I love this, and I want to stay on this topic for a minute because I think this is a epidemic, whatever the right word is for this, that our generation is seeing, especially young men. Young men, they are addicted to their phones, addicted to pornography, addicted to playing video games. And it is just to numb this pain of them not getting whatever they want, essentially. And I think all these companies that run these things, they understand that. And if you look at a video game, how hard is it when you're playing real life, and the game of life is you are trying to work and save money and accumulate and go on trips and do all this stuff, that scoreboard is really slow. I mean, we update your net worth tracker the last year, you're probably like, it's just small incremental changes. When you log on to a video game, I mean, you're getting immediate feedback, immediate dopamine hits when you rank at the end of the game on the leaderboard, and I'm so good, and whatever game you're playing, I broke this record or did this or smashed that guy on FIFA or Madden. You get this like feeling of dopamine and that you won. It's so much harder to get that feeling out of life. And that's where there is no scoreboard for life like there is in video games. And when you feel like, I think a lot of people feel like they're behind in life, so they compensate with being really good at these other things that give them these dopamine hits and make them feel better. You look at all like the keyboard warriors on the internet, bagging other people. They do it because it just makes them feel good. Gives them a reason to down talk what he's doing or make an excuse about what he's doing. And then they get a bunch of likes on their comment, and then it makes them feel good. Like, I am right. There's people that agree with me. But it's like, that does nothing for you.
And it's cool when you look at the psychology of a video game. I'm going to use as an example. All of the games, at least that I played, I'm not going to say every game, but most games, they all have like a season pass.
Yeah.
That's your goal. You work on that. That's how you track how good you're getting. You have leaderboards and different things like that. But at the end of the day, you have a plan in front of you.
Yeah.
And you know what the reward is at the end of that plan. And so you're willing to spend the hours doing that. What if you applied that to your finances?
Oh.
And you had a season pass. So the first season lasts a month. And maybe we can apply this to the podcast.
This is actually a great idea. Yeah.
So, because in the video game, they do last maybe a month to 3 months. That's how long the season goes. And by the end of that, you earn an X amount of rewards based on where you got in that season. So if we did that for like your finances, for example, season 1 is you have, if you reach this point, maybe it's you paid off $600 of debt, you get X reward. Or if you have $1,000, or maybe you get debt free, like here's what the reward would be at the end of that season. I think there's a psychology there because most video games have it. That's how they lock you in for a long time. That's how you think about it.
Yep.
Could be applied to finances for sure.
I think that's where things really change for me is, growing up, I'd play video games and stuff. I haven't played video games for a long time. And actually, now that you say that, my first few years in real estate, when I was doing really good, I would come home and I would log in and I would play, Call of Duty or something for a few hours. And it was like for me, I'm like, I just need to decompress because we were working a ton. But I could do that, or I should have at the time been looking at my finances and doing, getting stuff in order there. So that at the end of the year, that tax year, I wasn't going to be stressed out trying to get everything together right before tax season.
Right.
And we know that in the time, but like we justify it with, well, I've worked really hard, or I deserve this. And the truth of the matter is, as soon as I changed the game that I was playing to not just making money and then like going and finding like escapes, it was, hey, I actually realized like the game of life is to accumulate this resource like money. And this resource then allows me to spend the time doing whatever I want. And when you have the time, like now that I have more time, it's like, I still don't play video games because it's like, it's not really what I actually want to do. I want to go, I feel really good when I go run and I go play sports and like I go to dinner with family and friends. Like I love good conversation, good relationships, and being able to, what I enjoy most is figuring out how I have a scoreboard now. My net worth tracker is kind of my scoreboard. I love seeing that go up, and maybe that's not a healthy thing, but
I would argue that it is.
I think for some it is. I think you could argue that, hey, that's not, life isn't all about that.
Right.
And this is where, and I want to hit on this too, but I want to drive in this part first of, if you're saying you're just not good at money, that is just an excuse. Mm-hmm. It's a story that you're telling yourself. Nobody was born good at money. Nobody's like, oh, I'm just not good at finances. Well, that's a choice. You're choosing not to be good at finances. Nobody came out of their mom's womb and was like, I'm good with finances.
Right.
Just like nobody comes out of the womb and can walk. It's a skill that you have to learn if you want to. Like if you want to walk and you want to run, you have to learn those skills. Mm-hmm. If you want to have a better financial future, you need to learn the skills of your finances. And you don't have to spend every waking day, doing stuff with it. If you just learn the skill and the habits and you set up the system, it's done from there. Then you can just kind of go on and live your life and you know that you have a system behind you. I think I've noticed from you tell me if you're wrong, but like you seem a little bit lighter, like a little bit knowing that you kind of have your stuff in order. Mm-hmm. Does it feel better?
Oh yeah. And again, it all starts with like a goal and the psychology of that goal and how it changes how you operate every day. Like there's a reason, like I'm going to use Dave Ramsey as an example. One of the things that, because I read his book in this whole process as well. And again, I've said it multiple times on this podcast, there's aspects of his approach that I like, aspects that I don't. One thing that I liked just because of the psychology of it, and it ties back to a season pass in a video game, is the way that he teaches how to get rid of debt. You start with the smallest thing first, and you pay it completely off, and you get that sense of accomplishment. You get that dopamine hit. That was a real thing for us because we had like our consumer debt spread across multiple cards. It wasn't all just on one credit card that we got approved for. So it was this credit card had X amount of dollars. This credit card had X amount of dollars. So we took the one that was the lowest and we said, okay, we're going to work our butt off and we're going to pay this off. And the second we paid that off, we were like, that felt pretty good. And then we're like, okay, you get the belief in yourself that you can do it. So then you go and you pay the next one off, but that one's bigger. So now it's a bigger accomplishment. You feel better than what you did when you paid the first one off, all the way up until we paid the big one off. And I'll say the biggest one that we paid off at one time was $15,000.
Wow.
That felt incredible at the moment that we decided to do that. Took our, expenses, made sure our burn rate was covered, that I wasn't going to be hurting, if I didn't see a paycheck the next month or whatever else when it comes to being self-employed. But with the second we decided to do that and we hit okay on that transfer, I literally almost cried. And it's because you felt like you won, right? And that's why I told you, we're kind of addicted to this. We want to pay off our cars like that. It's because of that dopamine hit and the feeling of winning.
Yep.
And so what I'm excited for and what gets me juiced about this journey is taking that feeling and applying it to wealth. Okay, what's the next step I need to do? The little baby step. And I talked to AG about this because, again, I'm meeting with you, I'm meeting with AG, I'm setting goals, wanting to do different things. The next is, okay, well, let's open up an E-Trade, and we're gonna do a little bit of investing here, and we're gonna put it into, the S&P 500 or whatever, the next step is. And we'll talk about that, when that happens, and we'll see it on the net worth tracker and all that. But that's what gets me excited, is because I have purpose. I wake up in the morning and I'm excited for what the next step is. Versus when I was in the depths, I did not even want to wake up in the morning. Did not want to go to work because I knew I was going to work to come home and be in the same position with no end in sight. And so the only way to relieve that feeling was to dull my senses. And so, social media, watching sports, playing video games. And again, I want to emphasize those aren't terrible things. Like, I still play video games on occasion. It's a good way to connect with people and decompress, whatever you want to use it for.
Yeah.
But the problem is it took over my life. It was an every night thing, and it was to escape.
And I'm going to put you on, air out some of your laundry here.
Sure.
It wasn't even just a nightly thing. At one point, Jace had brought his video game system into work, and you'd take like lunch breaks and just play. Mm-hmm. And again, I think it was, for you, it was an escape of whether you had stuff at work that was stressing you out or you needed to do, or that feeling of like, I could be doing more. It's easy just to get rid of that feeling if you're just
100%
playing. And so I really appreciate you sharing that, because a lot of people, everybody has these kind of things that they hide into. And it takes some really good self introspection to come to, hey, this is why I'm doing this actually. Like, why am I doing this? Why do I feel this way? And I don't know about for you, like, if you don't feel good after it, like, you might feel good in the moment, but once you get off, and I'm taking, this is kind of a vice maybe. We play poker a lot. We used to play poker a lot. We don't as much anymore. But even like on some poker nights, like towards the end of us doing them, I would regret going like, man, I'm up till like 2 or 3 in the morning. Then I go to bed and I'm like, sometimes we were doing them during the weeknights. So we'd go to work the next morning. I'm like, I don't feel good about this. Like, I just don't feel good the next day. And I should have gone to bed early, because then I would have got up and went to the gym, and then I would have felt good. And so when you look at these little things of, again, I think it was easy for me to say yes to poker nights, because again, it was like, I wanted to hang out with my friends. And when you can get like a group of friends that, hey, we're not playing poker tonight, but go to bed early because we're going to get up and go to the gym, or we're going to go on a run in the morning. Your motivation changes. So now it's like, oh, I'm actually going to try to get to bed on time so that I can get up in the morning to hang out with my friends. And we're all like, as human beings, we want connection with people. And so look at your friend groups, and it's like, where do you have to go to connect with your friends? What habits do your friends have? Are they good, healthy habits that make you feel good? And not saying that any of these things are not okay. Just saying,
like, we're still going to do these things. I still will play poker with
100%
on a night, and we will probably stay up till 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take all your money. Like, that's just,
this is a bold
it's
statement.
going to happen.
This is a bold statement here. We've actually done, like, we haven't done poker night for a while, but the last few poker nights, and I haven't felt bad about them, is like, it is just a group of friends. And I know you hate this, Jace, but we just talk a lot. We tell stories, we talk, we laugh. I laugh more than I laugh doing anything else. Garrett, our friend Yogi Myers, comes and he tells us his mission stories, or just stories.
He's got some wild
stories. And we are just freaking laughing, belly rolling. And I feel good about that.
Right.
And we're still staying up late, and we're still, playing poker. But it's we're getting the actual human connection that I want, and ultimately that's what we all want.
Yeah.
And so,
but to go back on that, because you aired out my dirty laundry a little bit.
Yes. Sorry.
So no, it's good. I'm happy to talk about it, because again, it's self-analyzing, and this will not work if you cannot develop the habit of self-analyzation in yourself, because then you don't know what to fix.
Correct.
So if we look back at the time that I decided to bring video games into the workplace, I know exactly why, looking back on it. It was during a time that I had tested a new investing thing, right? So in short, I had dabbled in currency trading, which is similar to the stock market. You're just buying and selling based off of the value of a currency versus another currency in the world. And my dad did it. Like there was a lot of reasons why. I had made a lot of money doing it. Like I did really well.
He did really well.
And
like gave me FOMO. He
Yeah.
was doing so good.
like it was fun.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Like they even had me on like a Zoom call to train other people on what we were doing.
Yeah, you were
I
one
had-
of the top
I
performers.
had no idea what the hell I was doing, but like it worked really well. I remember distinctly making all this money. And I'm the type of individual, again, this kind of goes back to even when I had a job and tried to just disconnect. I hated finances, hated it. I didn't want to see how much I had in the bank account. I didn't want to know what our burn rate was. I didn't care how much insurance was. I let my wife take care of all that, so I didn't have to think about it. But then this hit, and I made all this money doing this other thing, making good money from real estate. And I remember looking, and I didn't know where it went. Had no clue. Definitely wasn't where I wanted to be in life. We still were in a basement at the time, right? So then you got the guilt of I'm in a basement. I made a good amount of money. I should be out of a basement. Like, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
Right. But instead, I wanted to dull that because that's what my habit had been before. And so even coming to work, I wanted to come in and do the bare minimum that I needed to do to keep real estate afloat. But then I just didn't want to think about it. And so I would play a video game during lunch, like you said, or whatever the case it might have been. That was around that time frame, ironically enough. It was because I wanted to not take ownership of the mistakes I had made, and I wanted to dull my senses to what reality was. That's the danger of it.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. Until you can self-analyze and recognize that thing, the video game is not the problem. It's not the bad thing until it becomes a substitute for reality and you try to take away from what's really happening in your life.
Yeah. These things are bad when they're escapes.
Yes.
Playing poker every once in a while is not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you feel like you need to go to the casino on a weekday or multiple times a week to try to escape.
Yep.
You're escaping your reality.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is like, we are in control of our realities. And that's what's scary.
Right.
Is at the end of the day, it is all your fault. And it's really hard. That's a hard
That's
pill
a
to
hard
swallow.
statement.
At the end of the day, wherever you are in life is your fault.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have the people that kick back. Well, this happened to me and this and this and this. I believe you. And maybe all those things did happen. And my answer would be, and
What are you going to do about it?
what's the solution?
Yep.
Because you can just complain about all these things and be like, and your life will never change. Or you can say, I need to take responsibility in my life and I'm going to make changes.
I think that is honestly what clicked. And I would almost say repeat it because that needs to be emphasized in young men today. Like, stop making excuses, look in the mirror, take ownership, be a man, and go and change it.
100%.
And that is what I struggled with for the first half of my marriage. Is I blamed everything on my circumstance. I would even look at like when we were living in a basement, this is the excuse I would use. And this is a flaw. And it was the truth, but it was also an excuse. My wife and I, we would be sitting and we would be talking about like, hey, why aren't we where we want to be yet? And the first thing that would come out of my mouth is I would say 99% of people that I know that own a house are dual income people. We're a single income house.
Mm.
It was an excuse. It was the truth, but it was an excuse because at the end of the day, I needed to look in the mirror and say, okay, this is the life you chose. This is the life me and Chelsea were hell-bent on keeping. I did not want her to go to work. She did not want to go to work. I felt less of a man for her wanting to do that or needing to do that.
Yeah.
If she wanted to, that's a totally different scenario. So I want to make that clear. If your wife wants to work, sweet,
Yeah.
full send. My wife did not want to work, so I would be less of a man if I had to put her in a position where she needed to.
Yeah.
So we were in a basement. We're not in a house. We want to be in a house, but my first excuse was everybody that we know that's in a house is dual income household. That was the first problem, is not taking ownership and looking in the mirror and being like, you can go get a house. You just got to work harder.
Yeah.
You just got to be better at finances. You got to take ownership of it. So eliminate the excuses, own up to what's in front of you, and look in the mirror.
I love that. I love that. That in itself is such a hard thing to address. It is, because as humans, we look whenever we're in a struggle, we automatically look for why, and we find a reason that makes us feel good. And like you said, maybe it is truth that a lot of people that do own homes are dual income. There are plenty of people that aren't dual income that also own homes, but that was an easy excuse.
Easy.
And I think right now everybody's easy excuse is like when you talk to people about their finances, they're like, I just don't understand finances. I'm just not good with money. And
Do something about
so is that going to be like, is your life just going to be like this?
Yeah.
Like, what does it, like, I can't. And if you're okay with how your life is, awesome. I'm not telling you have to get your finances in order. If you like living the way that you're living, awesome. But majority of people that are in that situation don't like it. And instead of just complaining about it, like, I think we need to be in like a socialistic environment where take the money from the billionaires and give it to everybody, spread it out, like just making excuses. Oh, forgive our student debt. It's like, no, you took on that debt. You went to school. If you made a bad decision with it, that you got to live with it and fix it. Like nobody is coming to save you.
Right.
The government is not coming to save you. If you want the government to come and save you, we're going to live in a pretty rough economy. Things are not going to be like if we switch to everything's equal, healthcare is free, and the government just takes care of everybody. That is a scary world because you really will have nothing. You get in the line and get ready for, we're serving lunch.
Yep.
Come get in line, get lunch. Like you have no control. I want control of my life. I want the responsibility of, I am responsible for any situation that we're in.
I love that, what you said there, because this is another highlight. The control that you want comes with serious responsibility. Like if you want financial freedom, that comes with a lot of responsibility. Mm-hmm. You got to be willing to own up to it and take it and run with it. You can't get around it. It's not just going to fall in your lap.
No. It's, and I think right now, like a lot of young men, this is the stat that I saw earlier that I wanted to touch on too, and it kind of feeds right into this, is a lot of young men like under 30 are not married. They're still living with parents. They're not doing anything with their finances. They are just playing video games. And it's sad. And you look at the stats, I think it was, if you go back to like 1960, the amount of people that under the age of 30 that were married and owned a home was like 52%. By 1960 or 1970, it was like 48%, but not a huge decrease. By 2000, that number was down to 25%. So basically cut in half from 1950, 60 to early 2000s. Where do you think we are today?
I don't even want to guess.
The amount of people under 30 that are married and own a home.
It's got to be less than 20%.
It's 12%.
Yep. Golly.
From 52% back in the 60s to 12% today. Why? And the easiest argument, people are going to say, well, housing was so much cheaper back then, and inflation and the cost of living, everything.
Yeah.
You can have all the excuses you want. If you actually look back, the true problem is consumerism. Mm-hmm. It's our expectation, I think. Yes, we had so many more people that were homeowners back then, but the average, it's funny, if you ask people like, when was the heyday of prosperity? Like the American dream was so strong, it was like a lot of people go to the 50s. Mm-hmm. But it's like if you look at the lifestyle that the average American lived in the 50s, today we would consider that poverty. Like they lived in a family of four lived in a 800 square foot 2-bedroom house. But that was the American dream. They just wanted a house.
They made spaghetti and meatballs every meal.
They cooked at home every meal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the wife could stay at home.
They weren't spending $60 a meal on going out to eat.
A lot of them didn't have a new car.
Yep.
And if they did, it was like a family had one car. Now families have 2 to 3 cars, and they want at least a 2,000 square foot house. They want 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and a big backyard and a 2-car garage. It's like our expectations are just off.
Right.
Yes, things maybe feel harder, but it's because you're coming out of high school or you're looking to buy your first home and you want it to be your dream home. You want it to be a 3,000 square foot house and all these features and have it be new. It's like, if you're looking to get into your first house, go buy a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. I grew up in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house till I was literally out of college. I ended up actually sold my childhood home like once I got licensed and got my mom out of there. But the truth is, like, our expectations back then were just not what they are today. And everybody was happy. We were content with it back then. But now if you had to live those same conditions, you wouldn't be content with it. And why is that?
It's easy to look back and say that you would have done something or would have done this if you had it. It's the excuses people make in the present keep them from wanting to make those decisions. So another good example that we would use a lot, because again, I would look back and be like, oh, if I was single or, if I was a sales bro, I'd house hack immediately. Like that's the goal, right? You'd house hack, then you turn it into a rental, and I'd begin my real estate empire. Well, the opportunity came to potentially house hack while I was married with a couple kids, but I used the excuse, and my wife used the excuse, that we don't want to do that. The expectation was different. We wanted a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. We wanted the yard. We didn't want a house hack. It was just something we weren't willing to do. And not saying that decision was bad, but that decision became an excuse for not growing wealth. At the end of the day, what we're trying to highlight is own up to your decisions. That we decided that's not what we wanted to do because our expectations were different. Okay, so go make your expectation a reality by working harder, finding different ways to make money and moving the needle versus just sitting in place and waiting and hoping that you're going to win the lottery, because you're just never going to.
No. Hoping that things are going to change. Like, the definition of insanity is continuing to do the same things and thinking that you're going to get a different result.
Right.
If you continue to do the same things, you're going to get the same results. Mm-hmm. You have to change your habits. And this is such an important topic, because I think so many people struggle with this, like the excuses that we make. I am a strong believer. We talked about this at our team retreat this last year. You can do anything you want in life. You just have to decide if you're willing to pay the price. You can get to a certain financial number if you're willing to make the sacrifices and pay the price. I'm a strong believer, like, Jace could go play professional golf. Now, people are going to kick back on this because we all know Jace is not a good golfer. But that's not the point. The point is, if Jace quit his job, neglected his family, decided he was going to live in a car, and he was just going to go to the driving range every single day for 8 to 10 hours a day and just hit balls, and you did that for 2 to 3 years, it would be pretty unreasonable for you not to get good enough to, like, go play on tour.
Yep.
I am a firm believer in that, because it is just habit and like, it's just a skill. You've got to learn that skill. And the quickest way to learn the skill is just to devote all your time to that. It'd be unreasonable for you not to be good if you did that much time and effort into it. And but do you want to make those sacrifices?
And the point is we see people that are that good, but expect that result without doing what they did to get that result. And that applies to wealth as well. Like, you take Rory McIlroy in golf, the amount of work that he puts in behind the scenes before you see him on TV is insane.
Oh yeah.
Hours at the gym, hours working on his swing, hours putting. Like, to your point, it's a full-time job. You would not be able to get to his level playing part-time or playing as a hobby.
Everything in their life revolves around that.
Everything.
The exercise at the gym, they don't go and just bench press and do the weights. They do specific exercises to loosen and strengthen the muscles that they need for their swing. Everything that they do is around that. They don't play other sports most of the time, and they're usually not really good at other sports. They're good at their one sport. They have extreme focus and clarity, and that's what they wanted to do. And that's great. And I think we put these guys on a pedestal that they're just gifted. And I don't necessarily think that they're just gifted. They just put in way more time and effort than anybody else was willing to do.
Yep.
But anybody could do anything in life if you're willing to pay the price to learn, to put in the time and effort to learn those skills to do that. A lot of, there's a story about, like, the comedian that slept in his car for the first like 2 years, just doing free comedy shows. And everybody sees him now, like, oh, he's so funny and he's so big. And he tells the story and everybody loves that story. But the truth is, nobody else is willing to sleep in their car for 2 years to get to that level. Because the uncertainty is, that's what's scary, is like, I can make all these sacrifices and the end result still isn't guaranteed. And that thought cripples us. That's why most people can't start a business. Most people won't be entrepreneurs, is because entrepreneurship is risky. And the fact that you don't know if it's going to pay off. Everything that I invest in and reinvest in and put money into the businesses, like when we start out, I don't know if they're going to pay off. I have a theory that they're going to pay off. I hope they do. But at the end of the day, it's a big risk. I could waste 5-10 years doing this, putting money into it, sacrificing, not taking money out of the business, reinvesting it, and then it just doesn't pay off. And for a lot of people, that thought is just crippling and they just can't do it. And it's the same thing with anything else in life, sports, fitness. A lot of people can't stick with fitness because they don't know if it's going to pay off. Mm-hmm. The end result is so far away that, well, if I diet today and I make the sacrifice today and I don't eat what I want, am I going to look better tomorrow? No, you're not going to look better tomorrow. But if you stick to that, you look better in 90 days. You look better in 6 months, 12 months. But without having that guarantee, people are like, well, I'm not, who knows if it's actually going to, my metabolism just doesn't work right. It's like, we're all humans. We're all built the same way. The science is the science. If you eat less calories than you burn and you're in a deficit, you will lose weight. There's not a single person on this planet that if they eat less and exercise more, that they wouldn't lose weight. And if you're an exception to that, I would love to hear your story and you'd be a scientific anomaly. The truth is, we just tell ourselves stories to justify it. That is the way it is. If you want to build wealth, you need to live off of less than you make. You need to have a deficit in your spending. You need to have a surplus of income each month that you don't spend that can go towards investing.
And again, be realistic with the expectation. Like if I want to lose weight, yeah, I know how to do it. But to what you've said before, I can't expect it in a day.
It's not going to happen overnight.
I came to you and said, Anthony, I want to be a millionaire like you. Can you make me a millionaire
Absolutely.
Tomorrow?
No.
You would laugh at me.
Yeah. I could say in 10 years.
Yeah. Now, this is kind of cool, and I'm going to challenge everybody because I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit too. I'm going to challenge everybody who's watched our podcast to go back and re-listen to some of them.
Yep.
And count how many times Anthony has said, I listened to this podcast, or I read this, or I found this quote. And I'll be the first to say, like, there's a gap between Anthony's way of thinking and the content he consumes and the way he thinks about wealth and what I am. So, like, I want to get there, but you are, in my view, similar to like a Roy McIlroy in wealth, right? Just the time and effort and money spent, whatever you want, put towards this game is different than mine. Mm. You take in so much more knowledge because it is what you want. If you look at our YouTubes, I'll bet your YouTube shows a lot of content related to wealth. Yeah. You look at my YouTube, it's a lot of bull crap, like just time killers, or depending on the season, it's going to be a lot of golf.
Yeah.
Or a lot of BYU stuff, or, I'm just.
Yeah.
So look at your content that you consume.
100%.
And that can be maybe one way to start changing your trajectory, because it's easy. You have all the knowledge that you could ever need in your freaking hand.
At your fingertips.
At your fingertips.
Free.
You can ask it. You can ask freaking ChatGPT with your voice to say, hey, find me this, and it will. And just start listening to content. But most won't.
No. I really, I appreciate you saying that. And that's a great observation, because that is all I do. Like when I'm driving, when I go to the gym, I'm listening to a podcast. Usually it's around business or finance. When I'm driving home, like I try to get home, I try to leave the office by 5. On my drive home is like 20 minutes, 18 to 20 minutes. I always listen to something too. Whenever I have free time, like that's really what I do. And maybe it sounds bad. Like, what are your hobbies? Like we have hobbies and we'll go out and play and do stuff, and I work out. But at the end of the day, like when I do have time, I spend time with my family And if I'm not spending time with my family, or like it's not a date night or something for me and my wife, like I love education because like for me, like this is the ultimate game. The ultimate game is how good can I get at business? How good can I get with my finances? Because my end goal, when I look at this, and you know, you kind of give me crap because I really don't have a sports team. I like watching, I do watch sports and I like being in that environment. And I'm a sucker to go to live sports because I love the experience. I'll pay for good tickets, good seats if we're going to go because I want the experience. But at the end of the day, those guys have mastered their craft. And it is entertaining to watch. But I want to master my craft. I almost have like I don't watch soccer anymore, even though I grew up playing soccer my entire life. Played soccer year round. It was what I lived for. I don't even watch soccer anymore because when I watch it, one of it feels like regret, like, man, I want to still play. I wanted to be out there. And so I don't watch it. I now focus on like, I decided that soccer wasn't going to be my sport when I decided I want to get into business. My sport now is business. And so that's what I spend majority of my time learning and getting education around. I look forward to going to the gym and putting on a YouTube video. I look forward to going on my runs and listening to a podcast. I get an hour, sometimes 2 hours if it's a long run, where you just get to listen to a podcast, hear different ideas and perspectives. And then I get really jazzed to share it because I love sharing the knowledge and I love teaching other people. And so decide what you want to be good at. It could be, I have friends, really good friends, one that just called me before this podcast. He invests into our projects. And for him, like, he would love to be more involved. He knows he doesn't have time. And that's okay. I tell him, like, dude, this is what I do full time. I don't have another job. My job is real estate. I have a team. I've built a team. Like, we have 2 guys that look for off-market deals all day, every day. That is their full-time job. When people are like, man, I want to find deals like you. It's like, well, cool. Quit your job and look for deals all day. If you did that, you would find deals. But do you want to do that? Are you willing to pay the price that it's going to take for you to stop your job and get into that? Like my buddy Rex, my partner in flipping, he took the jump. It was slow. For the first like 6 to 12 months, it was slow. But he was willing to put his back against the wall. He took a pay cut to do this. Now he's making way more money and it's awesome. But he had to take that leap and have that sacrifice, put his back against the wall and say, and he tells me, like, when we first met, I want to be doing real estate every day. He was selling insurance and just doing real estate kind of on the side. He's like, I want to be doing this every day. Like, I want this to be my focus. And once he made that decision to make it his focus, he's making more money than he was doing insurance. But when you're too scared to leave one thing and you just want it to be like a side hustle, you're never really going to be that good at it.
Right.
And my advice to my buddy was, you don't need to do this. I'm like, we already have the business, the infrastructure. We've already paid the price to learn how to do this and we're doing it at a high level. Like, you just continue to do what you're good at because you're making a lot of money doing what you're doing. And you've spent the last 10 years building the skills to be good at what you're doing. Continue to do that and just accumulate money and make sure you're saving it and just continue to invest in our projects. And he understands that. He's like, yeah, dude, I just want to, he literally told me, he's like, dude, I will give you anything. You call me. If you got an opportunity, like, count me in. I'll give you anything you need money-wise. Like, he just trusts me like that. And I love that. And because of that, like, we are going to continue to push opportunities to him. But so many people look at what we're doing and like, dude, I want to do what you're doing. And you could, if you're willing to pay the price and put in the time and effort that it's taken us to get to this level, you could do it too. I don't think there's no reason you couldn't, but are you willing to do that? And if you're not, just become good at what you're doing and find somebody else that you can partner with or invest in that is a specialist in that environment.
That's what I love about us wanting to do this group.
100%.
Because that's what it's going to be. Like, you and I are heavy in the real estate game.
Yep.
The goal is not to have 20 people of real estate people.
No.
Like, it's going to be people like your friend who may not be in our world yet, but could be.
Yeah.
And we could be a part of his world if there's a world there that opens up there. That's the beauty of what we want to do with the group.
Yeah. There's so, like, get people around you that bring different value. And And then when you guys get together, it's like, well, you bring this value, I bring this value. Oh, we could do something really cool together. You don't have to do everything. You can't do everything, actually.
Can't.
Like, that was my big speech at our team retreat. Is like, you can do anything, you just can't do everything, because it is impossible. And some people might look at me and they're like, oh man, you got your hands on a lot of stuff. I agree. Like, we do have our hands on a lot of stuff. I don't personally run majority of those things. We have people that it is their full-time job in those businesses to run those businesses. And if it was me running all the none of them would be successful, because you can't do everything.
Right.
But you can do anything you want if you're willing to pay the price. And for me, it was finding a balance of, yeah, I could go try to start this company and keep 100% of the company, or I could partner with somebody and I can bring my influence or money, capital, and help and expertise and skills, and they can bring in their time and effort to run it day to day. And we can partner and grow this. And I'm all for that, because I realized I don't care so much about the percentage. I care about my time. I can have 10% of something, and if it requires none of my time and makes me some money, awesome. I don't care. I could, when you look at, I think about joint, like a team, when people are thinking about a real estate team, the first thing they look about is like splits. What you should look at is like, how much time is it going to save you? Because we have agents that have gone out and tried to run their own business and realized, if I could go do this on my own, but I have to wear all the hats, or I have to pay people to come in and wear these hats. And why would I not just pay the team a split where you guys already have all that stuff in place, and I can just go do what I'm good at? I can go do the content. I can go meet with buyers and sellers, because that's really what I'm good at. I'm not good at the systems and operations. I'm not good at like the back end marketing and branding and SEO of a company. I'm not good at all these other things, managing people, salaries, all that stuff, expenses, overhead, P&Ls. I just want to go and make my money that I can make and continue to grow my business. And realizing that is hard, because you like, well, I don't want to give up. I'm so used to keeping 100% of my commission. It's like, you're looking at it the wrong way. How are you going to be able to level up by leveraging out your time and your resources? And so anyway, I just think people get so caught up in what they're giving away in certain situations versus like what they could gain. And I always look about like, what could I gain in a situation like this? And so that we kind of went off on a tangent there, but
it's an important tangent.
Yeah.
Good lesson.
I think at the end of the day, what we really want people to understand through this episode is you are in the situation you are in because of decisions that you have made. Regardless of your circumstances, you're in the situation that you're in because of decisions that you made. And that can be really, really hard for people to understand. And your instinct, right, when I say that, is to give me all the excuses of why you're there. Well, my story's different because. My situation's different because. And there are extremely hard situations that people go through. But knowing at the end of the day, the decisions you have made leading up to this point have put you in the situation that you're currently in, and you can get out of it. And
so let's make this positive then. In 10 years, when you're a millionaire, you can look back and say the decisions I made are the reason why I'm here.
100%. I love that you said it, because I forgot about this. The only people that claim to be self-made are successful people. It's a badge of honor you wear.
I love that. Say that again.
The only people that claim to be self-made
So good.
are successful people. You never hear a broke person say, oh, I'm self-made.
So true.
But we are all self-made.
Yep.
Every single one of us, we make, we're at where we're at because of the decisions we make. But only the successful people are like, yeah, I'm a self-made millionaire. Self-made. Well, everybody's self-made. And if you just don't want to taunt it if you're not a millionaire or you're not successful. You want to hide behind it. Well, it's not my fault. It is your fault.
I'm a self-made debt. I'm
I'm
self-made in debt.
Exactly. But it's true.
It's the truth.
It was like you chose to buy stuff on a credit card, and like that puts you in debt. But nobody wants to own it when it's that situation. And it's like, it's so funny. Why is that? Why have you never heard anybody say, well, I'm self-made broke?
So let's make a bunch of self-made millionaires.
Let's make a bunch of self-made millionaires. Everybody's self-made. Unless you inherited, a bunch of money and maybe you did, and that's awesome. Good on your parents for giving you that head start. Don't squander it. Have some responsibility with it. Be humble. Have some, I think that's even probably more of a hard spot to be in, as people think like, I wish I was a trust fund kid. You hear people say like, if only my family was well off, or if only my parents had made better decisions, then it wouldn't be so hard for me. That is a victim mentality. And you'd actually be shocked at how discouraging it is if you were a trust fund kid. Those kids, it's really hard for them to find meaning in life. They don't get those little satisfaction wins that you can get from building your net worth. Like imagine if you just had a net worth of a few million. Would it feel
on the surface level? If it would be cool.
It'd be cool right at the beginning.
It'd be great.
At the beginning, it'd be awesome. But then after a while, you're like, well, like, what did I do?
And the lessons I'll learn to getting to a millionaire through this journey wouldn't be there if you were just given it.
100%.
Which is why last episode we talked about how like if everyone was given $100,000, the majority of them would not have it in a year.
Yeah.
It'd be gone.
Yep.
And it's because they haven't learned the lesson,
skills,
and the skills to get to that point and maintain it.
Yep. Yeah. So you shouldn't want, there's that saying like, don't ask to be successful, or don't ask for life to be easier. Ask for you to have the skills or the habits to make life better.
Mm-hmm.
So don't just wish for your life to change. You should want to go through the struggle. Like when I look back, those are the highlights of life, are those little moments where you do something for yourself. As stupid as it sounds, like, I had so much pride when we signed like our first lease. I had so much pride when we went and bought our first washer and dryer, like for our apartment. I had a ton of pride when we put a down payment on our first house. Those are moments that like, yeah, it was cool when I, saved my first money in, first $100,000 or whatever. That felt really good. Mm-hmm. But like, it felt just as good when I bought my first refrigerator or something. Like when you go through this process of adulting and you give yourself these little wins, like that all feels really, really good. When you paid off your first credit card, probably felt like a big win. You get that dopamine hit. I love that whole dopamine conversation. Going back to like you even trading. Think about that. I mean, that is the dopamine you get from like doing those trades. I remember when I was getting the dopamine hits when a buddy of mine talked me into like doing option trading. And I remember like distinctly, I remember one morning I told Brie, like I invested in something. I bought an option. I was brushing my teeth. I looked at it and I would have it on the counter because it would just like change so frequently. It was addicting. It was on Robinhood. So, they have it all gamified on Robinhood. It looks awesome. And I made like $1,500 brushing my teeth in like 30 seconds.
Felt so good.
Oh, I thought I was just the shiznit. I was on top of the world, like untouchable. I just made $1,500 while brushing my teeth. What are all these other idiots doing? And then I lost 15. So like, don't do that. But it was that dopamine hit that made me want to do it. It was just like so then I'm like, well, dude, this is easy. I'm going to do this and buy this. And be careful of those situations.
Search for the dopamine and wins that are going to project your life forward.
Now I get dopamine in like, dude, I put a down payment on a rental property. I buy a flip, an off-market flip. When I go into the bank and I pull a cashier's check for that, like, oh, that feels good. Yeah. Gonna go buy a piece of property. I know this money's going somewhere good. That is the game that we're playing. And now I've really focused. Like I don't trade a lot of stocks. We still invest in stocks, but I just kind of invest and forget. I do not have a good track record day trading. Yeah, I've tried it, played with it. I don't have a good record option trading. The only thing I can do good at stocks is if I just put money and I forget about it. That's the only thing that actually grows. What I am good at is, and where I find a lot of joy, is the real estate side, because it's really what I know. The reason I'm not good at stocks is I'm not a stock trader. Like I'm not looking at PE ratios and profit and losses from the company and quarterly earnings and looking at their earnings report. I'm not reading through these things. A lot of it was like impulse decisions of like, oh, somebody saw on Instagram said this is going to go up, so I'm going to buy it.
Or this little mark went up, it's got to go down.
Yeah. Like just stupid things, thinking that I know what I'm doing, Now it's like, I actually just try to invest in what are companies that I actually believe in. I go to Starbucks a lot. Starbucks is usually busy. I don't think this company is probably going to be around for a little bit. I'm going to invest a little bit in Starbucks. Amazon. I just ordered a crap ton of clothes for Amazon because we leave on our team trip to Dominican Republic. That is a whole story in itself. But
Another time.
We were going to Puerto Vallarta until like literally it was 4 days after all this stuff with the cartel happened in Puerto Vallarta. If you watch the news, that happened on a Sunday. We were supposed to fly out to Puerto Vallarta on that next Thursday. And so we rebooked this whole trip to match the same dates. And I still haven't even been refunded our Puerto Vallarta trip. I need to do that today. And anyway, so now we're going to the Dominican Republic to keep everybody safe. But because of that, like, I was super busy. I wanted some new clothes for it, some kind of like loungy beach clothes. So I just ordered a ton of stuff on Amazon. Came here, tried on different sizes, and I have Chloe. She's sending a bunch of clothes back for me this week. But I'm like, dude, that was so convenient. Amazon's not going anywhere.
Right.
Like Amazon's going to be here for the long haul. They've mastered the art of convenience for the consumer. And so when you believe in, you see like trends, not like trends, don't follow trends. When you're using something and it just makes sense, like, oh, this is such a cool feature, or I consume this a lot, you should probably invest in that. Like if you're feeling that way, a good majority of the public also feels that way. And it's probably a good company, but don't try to day trade it. Like find a company that you believe in long-term and just invest in those. Or like we said, invest into big index funds, mutual funds, invest in the total index fund, the Vanguard Total Index Fund. That'll get you like ownership in basically all the US companies. And like that on average returns like 10 to 12%. Just invest in something like that if you don't want to do all the research. Like we've said before, you don't have to be good at all this stuff to do it. Just start doing it. But I would encourage you to figure out one investment strategy that you do want to be good at, that you kind of have a little bit of an edge, because that's where you can really accumulate a lot of wealth, is when you have an edge in a specific niche. For us, that niche is real estate, and specifically like off-market distressed opportunities where we can flip them. Some of them we hold long-term. We also know like construction costs and remodel costs. So that's our niche that we play in. Everybody should find that. Or if you're just really good at making money, find somebody that you trust that you can invest with, whether it's a financial advisor that invests into the stock market for you, or you want to get into real estate, but you don't have the time and energy to fully learn the skills that it takes to be good at real estate. Find somebody that has a proven track record and invest with them. Like we've got a lot of hard money investors. One that came from listening to this podcast, Luis, he's awesome. He's invested with us for like the last 2 years. And even just seeing his journey, like, yeah, he initially came to me. This is the part that I love, is he came to me after listening to the podcast. He's like, dude, I want to get into real estate. I said, awesome. So what do you do for work? He told me he's a hustler. He was working at like, he does, I think, imaging. He reviews imaging and stuff for like x-rays or MRIs or something. And he was working at the hospital here in town. And then he would also work for a hospital outside of town because they would pay him. He'd work 4 days and then he'd go out there and work like 2 days. And they'd pay him a lot more to travel and go work there. And so he's working like 6 days a week, really good amount. But he was saving good money on the side. He's like, I want to start doing real estate. I'm like, dude, if you want to, awesome. But like, it doesn't look like you really have the time to do real estate. Mm-hmm. Like you could go buy a flip, but like, when are you actually going to manage that project or do anything? And I think that really made sense from him. It's like, hey, you're doing good at this. Continue to do good at this. Don't spend all the money that you're making. Start saving it and just invest it. Invest it with somebody else that's going to go out and do this. Sometimes you look at the returns that somebody else is making, flipping it. Well, that guy's making that much money flipping the house, but he's doing that full time. He's not working the job that you're working to make the income that you're working. Like that is where his income's coming from.
It's back to our Rory McIlroy analogy.
Rory's not.
That's what they do. He's not doing anything else.
He's not playing basketball.
Yeah.
He's not trying to go to the NBA too.
Yep.
He's just being good at golf. And when you are an expert in any field, you tend to make a lot of money. And then it's just putting that money into the right places. And so figure out something that you're good at. This goes back to, if you're not making the income that you want, one, it's because you don't have a valuable skill. Go get a valuable skill. It could be, it could just be a skill within your current work environment. Figure out something that nobody else is doing. figure out how to become more valuable for your employer. If you're more valuable, they're going to pay you more. It's inevitable. Like if you help the company make money, the company owners would be ridiculous not to value you higher and want to pay you more. Like, don't just go ask for a raise. Ask it, like, think about your position. How can I make this business or this company more profitable? How can I bring more value? How can I increase sales? How can I increase our systems and processes? When you think of it that way, then it's going to be when you do that, it's a lot easier of a conversation to go get a higher, hey, I increased our sales by X%. Awesome. Our profitability went from this to this. I'm okay giving you a portion of that, 100%. But we just come at it with the wrong mentality of, oh, I just want more because cost of living has gone up and everything. Even if you're an employee, you should have an owner mindset. Because if you do that, you're going to be so much more valuable to that company. If this was your business, what would you do? How would you make things better in your role, in your field of expertise? So, and if you don't have dude, I'm just doing nothing right now. I'm flipping burgers. Well, be the best you can at work, but then you should start like learning a different skill. Unless you look at the corporate ladder of where you're at and you're like, yeah, I want to become maybe you're flipping burgers at McDonald's, and maybe being a regional guy at McDonald's is good money. Maybe that's the life that you want. Awesome. Work your way up. Like that's a viable path. If you look at the top of the corporate ladder of where you're at and where you think you can get to, and you're like, yeah, it's actually not the life I want to live. Well, cool. Go there from 9 to 5, and then from 5 to 9, when you're home, be learning that other skill set.
Don't play video games.
Don't play video games. You got to be really strategic with your time. Everybody has the same amount of time in the day. It literally just comes down to how you use it. And there's a really good exercise that you can do too. It's like everybody has the same 24 hours. You should write down each hour of the day. That's an hour block, 24 of them throughout your day. Obviously, 8 of them are going to be filled with sleep. The other 16, what are you doing? 1 hour, you should like fill in that block of what you want to be doing. And then you'll realize like, oh, I could actually probably get a lot more done in a day than I think I could if I didn't waste so much time. Mm-hmm. Waste so much time playing video games, scrolling. Set a limit on your phone. Set your screen time limit. Like it's really easy. It's such a habit to just get on there and scroll, and then all of a sudden you've wasted 45 minutes. That's an hour block that you could have used doing something else. Mm-hmm. I realize that, and that's like, dude, sometimes I even go to the gym in the afternoon because I'm like, hey, I've got a little hour block here. Like, oh, I was going to take a lunch. I could just go to the gym, and I can get a 30 to 45 minute workout in, and I'm going to feel so much better.
I'm totally going to lunch.
Jace is ready for lunch at 10 a.m. So this is a different story. We're going to change that. But I used to think that if I couldn't do it, like if I didn't have the time block that I wanted, that I just wasn't going to do it.
Right.
And then my excuse was, it was really easy to tell I'm so busy. And this is where I got freaking overweight. The last few years, I was so busy at work. My excuse was, dude, I'm busy. For me to make the money that I want to make, I'm going to have to put my health on the back burner. That was my excuse. But it's like, dude, I'm working more than I did then, or just the same. But I have prioritized it as some days are going to be busy. Some days I have to wake up and my first appointment's at 7 or 8, and I didn't get to bed the night before till super late because I was cramming for something. And I would just be like, all right, my day's toast. I'm not going to be able to work out. It's like, no, if I can find 30 to 45 minutes, I'm going to go to the gym real quick and get a 30-minute workout in. And I still feel so much better. I used to be like, if I don't have an hour to 2 hours to work out, then I just can't do it because I'm not going to get the workout I want, and it's just not worth it. No, it is worth it.
Even something like that, so small, falls into the category of the expectations being too high. And we'll kind of wrap this out and close it out with this, because the goal, like we said, of this podcast is own up to the life that you've chose to live in. But then what do you got to do to change it? Mm-hmm. Find the dopamine things that are going to project your life forward. One of those things that Sharon, we've talked about him a couple times, right?
He's the GOAT.
Yeah, he's so cool. One of his things that he shared was he's a guy who just chooses to be there. Like he makes the decision, like the gym, for example. He's like, I'm going to go to the gym every day.
Yep.
That's the goal. It's not, I'm going to go to the gym for 3 hours every day, because that's not reasonable. He's like, I'm going to be true to myself, and I'm not going to lie to myself or let myself down by saying I need to go and be there for X amount of time. He's like, as long as I show up to the gym, I know I've been honest with myself.
His thought on this is it's okay to suck.
Yes.
It's not okay to skip.
Thank you. Because I forgot the terminology that he used, but it's so brilliant. It's okay to suck. It's not okay to skip.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it applies to the wealth journey. You're going to suck at it for a long time. Just don't skip. Don't dull your senses. Don't try to escape it. Take ownership of it. Suck at it for a little bit, and you will look back and be grateful you did.
It's okay to, and when he says like it's okay to suck, not to skip, it's like you don't have to do everything in a single day. Mm-hmm. You don't have to set up this checking account and go through your expenses and figure out your burn rate and do all this in a day. It's like, just don't make forward progress. Same thing with like, if you're trying to lead gen, I think about lead gen for our agents. It's like, if you said you want to have so many conversations a day, some days you're not going to have that many conversations, but don't skip it. At least have one. If you said you're going to sit X amount of open houses a week and it gets towards the end of the week, you're like, I can't sit I said I was going to sit 2 or 3 this week and I didn't. So I'm just not going to do any. No, don't do any. Like do one last minute one. Cause then you don't throw up a 0. Mm-hmm. Don't suck. Don't skip. Don't throw up a 0. But it's okay if you wanted to get a 10 and you only got a 1. At least you have a point on the board. So with this on your finances, don't just keep giving yourself zeros. It's like, I'm just not looking at it. No, step 1, hey, your first point could be, I'm going to print off my last 3 months of bank statements.
Check.
Don't even look at them.
Yeah.
Don't even look at them. You just printed them off, put them on your counter for tomorrow. You got to win. That's a 1 point. Maybe it's 2 points. Mm-hmm. And then tomorrow when you go through them, hey, that's you got 5 points. You went through them. You don't have to do anything. Just go through them and highlight, what expenses are what, and then put it away. I think we've got to do everything that day, and it becomes so overwhelming.
You just don't do it.
You just don't do it. Just give yourself these little wins. Just don't put up a 0. Make forward progress each day. That's all it takes. And you'd be amazed at where you'll be at in 12 months if you just focus on making a little progress each day.
And there's no excuse. Every single one of us can do it.
Everybody has time.
Period.
Everybody. I love it. Okay. Well, that was a long episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Last thing I'm going to say, we should have been sending out, because we're ahead on this podcast. We're always like 2 weeks ahead or so. I think the last episode we sent out, we're going to be sending out the link
Yep.
for you to apply to the mastermind group.
So it should be out there.
Fill
it out.
So hopefully by the time this podcast comes out, we're actually reviewing those. Mm-hmm. And so again, just a reminder about that. We're super excited about this group that we're putting together. I think it is going to be absolutely awesome. So much value, so much benefit for anybody that's a part of it. If you want to be a part of it, don't forget to fill out that link. If you don't know where the link is, shoot us a message on Instagram, The Pursuit of Wealth Podcast, or follow me and Jace. Shoot us a message or shoot us a text if you have our personal phones. We'd love to have an awesome group of individuals for this mastermind group that we're going to be putting together. And if you guys need help, anything business related, you have questions, finance related, don't be afraid to shoot us a message, reach out to us, and we'd give you some feedback. We'll help where we can. So we love you all.
Love it.
Till next week. Catch you guys later.
Welcome to the chase where the champions dwell. To the grind, to the hustle, the pursuit of wealth. Every story, every journey, every climb from the shelf. Here's to the drive, to the fight, to pursue the wealth.